Welcome to the People's Verdict. Today we are discussing the welfare of inmates in Zambia. I'm Patrick Soko, and to help me with the discussion I have in the studio Mr. Godfrey Malembeka from the Prisons Care and Counseling Association. He is the Executive Director of the association, and together we are going to delve into this interesting subject. Welcome to the program, Mr.
Thank you very much, Patrick, and thank you so much for inviting me. This is second time to be here, this beautiful studio. Thank you.
We are happy that you could find time to be with us.
Thank you so much.
Interesting. Just to get started with our conversation, there are some of our first viewers of this program, the People's Verdict, and those who might not be aware, who is PRISCA? What is the association all about? We are going to give you some time, Mr. Malembeka, to try to explain to our viewers what you stand for as an organization.
Thank you very much, my brother. Once more, I should mention here that my next prison, I spent 4 years in prison. I was sent to prison on opinion, and I spent my 4 years at Confinsa's prison. So Prisons Care and Counseling Association is a correctional or prisons-based CSO that defends, protects and promotes suspects and prisoners' rights in Zambia. We are now 22 years old. It was formed by a team of 7 inmates in 1997, led by myself, and we started our operations in the year 2000. We are involved in a lot of projects, should I say, activities. One of them is advocacy, including litigation advocacy, and people in Zambia are now aware. I'm very, very thankful to all of you who supported us when we went to the Constitution Court to ask the Constitution Court allow prisoners in Zambia to participate in our democracy and choose leaders of their choice. So judgment number 34 in 2017 allowed all incarcerated people, even suspects in the police cells, to choose leaders of their choice. And that is advocacy part, but we are involved in many other advocacy issues, lobbying issues. Some of them we do them strategically, administratively. For example, the speedy access to justice. We are the organization, the founder and pioneer of the first legal desks that were established 12 years ago, with support from European Union, support from the Open Society Foundation. And so we wanted inmates to have their own INSACA, sit down and look at the delayed cases, those who have no next dates, they don't know when to go, bond bail issues, and so on and so on. So those were established, and I'm thankful to the Zambia Correctional Service for allowing that. We partner with the Legal Aid Board, we partner with the private law firms that are offering pro bono. We train inmates in human rights, we train inmates in health education, and we train inmates in basic legal education. We are finishing tomorrow, and we shall be inviting you to attend the first ever training recognized by TVETA, level 3, paralegal level 3, and we want those to be employed by CSOs when they leave correctional facilities. So that's how we are empowering them. We are involved in empowering female inmates with skills. We are involved in supporting circumstantial children born and brought in the correctional facilities. We are involved in supporting ex-prisoners, connect them, family tie-ups, and we are involved in diversion. Those children or juveniles that are involved in petty offenses are referred to us. We have all our staff trained in mediation and diversion. And so when we finish the 8 sessions, we write back to the courts of law. Those children are sent back to school. We have over 700 that we've helped. Those children would have landed at our reformatory schools. That's how we are helping government to decongest our reformatory schools in Zambia. We are involved in also conducting voter education, which I love so much as a result of winning that case. And I am happy, also very thankful to the Electoral Commission of Zambia for training all my staff in the different provinces in voter education. And that helped us a lot to come up with such pamphlets and paper presentations to go around visiting the correctional centers. There were 29 correctional centers that received big television sets. There were also, they received as well radios, 27 radios, and fully subscribed decoders, so that they follow the campaign trail. You remember where this prisoners voting is done for the first time in 58 years, and so when we made the first mechanisms, the agreement was that political parties were not allowed necessarily to enter, to go there and sell their manifestos. And I'm sure the next one, as we have agreed to continue improving on the mechanisms, probably 2026 will be better. So those televisions, many thanks, a big thank you to the UNDP and other partners that created that basket funding, which enabled us to visit all those correctional centers in the 5 provinces, all of them. And so we can spend 2 hours talking about what we do. We are involved in research. You can Google the Unjust and Health conducted by the Human Rights Watch. We coordinated that here in Zambia. We are also partnering with many other friends, both non-governmental and governmental institutions. For example, reviewing and renaming of the Prisons Act Cap 97 into a correctional act, number 35. That was led by Zambia Law Development Commission and Zambia Correctional Service. We sat there. We were part of the technical committee to review that, and we are happy to report that once this process is done, we shall have a better law that will address public health issues and also human rights issues of our friends that are incarcerated. So that's what PRISCA is in a nutshell. We are a defender, a protector, and also promoter of their rights. They need a voice because they are Zambians, they are human beings.
Interesting. Well, in case you are just joining us in the studios, I'm hosting Mr. Godfrey Malembeka from the Prisons Care and Counseling Association, and we are discussing the plight of inmates. Mr. Malembeka is a human rights defender as well as an ex-convict who has done so much in terms of advancing the welfare of prisoners in the country. To delve deep into our conversation now, I want us to look at the prisons vote, which was a milestone project which you had undertook, and we saw a pilot in 2021 during the general election. So now, how would you assess the first election ever conducted in prisons?
It is so sweet, encouraging, humbling, and it's a very good start. First of all, we have statistics from countries, neighboring countries.
Exactly.
If you look at South Africa, for example, there are 160,000 incarcerated people in South Africa. But the participation of inmates, because they've been allowing prisoners to vote, but the participation of inmates there was about 7,000 plus. Out of that, and you look at Kenya, they have more than 80,000 incarcerated people. The people who participated in the elections, inmates, incarcerated people, were about 11,000. So there was apathy, you know. And when you go down with our partners in those countries, they will tell you that there is need to intensify voter education and civic education.
Exactly.
To make them know the importance of choosing their leaders. And so in Zambia, 23,000 incarcerated people. At the time we were voting, we had about 18,000 eligible voters, but 14,965. You can see the difference. So we are a shining example, and that is why I'm thanking you, the media, for making the people aware. And all the programs you were running, they were able to follow on their television. They were able to follow. Right now, they are following what we are discussing. And I was informing all our paralegals and my staff in the provinces that we shall be discussing this. So now, that helped a lot. I should also mention that what helped is the foundation laid by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. They quickly appointed the technical committee, and that technical committee consisting of experts and CSOs, government departments such as the Zambia Correctional Service itself, Zambia Police, the Department of National Registration, Passport and Citizens. And they issued and replaced NRCs before the ECZ moved in to give the voters cards. You see that technical committee helped, first of all, even to borrow and learn from the 4 countries in Africa that have been allowing prisoners to vote: Lesotho, Namibia, South Africa, and Kenya. And so when we put together the work compiled by our chief compiler, Zambia Law Development Commission, we also had the Human Rights Commission, we had the NGOCC there, we had the Churches Association, and ourselves as petitioners, we sat and made that technical committee. That technical committee visited 30 major correction centers before even making these mechanisms to ask the end user themselves, you are Zambians, how do you want to be treated? How do you want to vote? Tell us. And that is where we got the structures that Priska used, establishing the correction of voter education committees in prisons. You can imagine, for the first time, that's what we did. Because they said, we don't want noise here. We are regarded by people outside, the so-called innocent, that these are wrongdoers, miscreants, and so we want to show Zambia that we can be peaceful. And surely, the voting in prisons was more peaceful than outside here. We recorded no violence. And there was no apathy. So, after doing all that, there was engagement between our technical committee and the ECZ, also with the political parties, with judiciary, with LAS, Law Association of Zambia, with the law enforcement agencies chiefs that we have, the Inspector General, the Commissioner General of Zambia Correctional Service, and others, including the military. So we gathered all those notes, and that is what helped us to come up now with the strategy we used. What was remaining, the big elephant that was in the room before elections, was voter education. Now, I've already mentioned here that there were several partners in Zambia, and I want to thank you. European Union, the German Corporation, France, French, and we had also USAID, and we had also the Irish. And all these together created the basket funding, which was managed by UNDP, and they called for proposals. 18 CSOs benefited from there. Priska was one of those. So what we did ourselves was to work in tandem, to work in collaboration with the ECZ structures. I've told you that we are all trained by ECZ. ECZ has structures. They call them PIVEX. When you look at the provincial, they have PIVEX, the provincial education committees. And when they go to the district down, they have the DIVECs. And these are district voter education committees. They sit in the councils, different councils in Zambia, but with several partners in there. So what we did ourselves is to go to the center, the site, correctional facility, and create CIVEX, Correction of Voter Education Committee, consisting of all inmates. Train them, give them the importance of voting, and also voter education, civic education. Now these are the ones who were systematically now put in the cells by Zambia Correctional Service, so that when they are locked up, they are able to run through and teach their colleagues. We also procured, I've mentioned already, big television sets and distributed them, 42, 43-inch television sets distributed all over Zambia. That project ended last month, 2 days ago. You know, and then we also procured radios. We procured decoders from Topstar and paid for them. So they were able to follow every politician. And that is why we saw that voting. The PPEs, you know, COVID-19. So we did all these things to assist our friends to choose leaders of their choice. There were problems, small gaps here and there, and we shall be talking about what we need to do. So this is how it worked. We need to improve. And I'll be talking about what ECZ has put in place with that technical committee, how to improve those protocols and the mechanisms.
Interesting, Mr. Marembeka. Now, the major fear was that the prison vote was going to favor the incumbent. By then, it was the Patriotic Front government. The opposition were crying foul. Day and night, saying that they are campaigning in prisons. They are not being given space, and hence they will win the prisons vote. But to the contrary, the opposite was also true. So How can now we also harmonize the aspect of campaigning among us?
How I love that. That is what I love. You know, when you are involved in something, you try to exonerate yourself, people will not understand. May I use this opportunity to forgive, wholeheartedly, to forgive all Zambians that were blaming us, that were blaming ECZ, that were blaming Zambia Correctional Service. That this is a gimmick, it's a scheme to favor the ruling party. You are all forgiven. And this is a great church where we are. I'm telling the truth. I've been a leader for many years. I've been fellowshipping at that Shilo and JCZ. Those who wants to go and find out from the evangelical church. 40 years I've been there. And I've spent my life in the temple. I told people that I've never stepped in State House. I told people that I've never gotten even one way from anybody, any official from the ruling party. I told the people. They did not understand that. They did not understand that. Now, the voting has not only exonerated us. They have exonerated Zambia Correctional Service. They have exonerated prisoners. They have exonerated the Electoral Commission of Zambia. They have exonerated themselves because the voting pattern was not different from what happened outside. I've been telling people, even here when you called me, that 70% of the 23,000 incarcerated people today are youths. They are between 19 and 35 years. What do you expect from such? When they are following what is happening outside with their colleagues, they will simply use their education. I've been telling people that Zambia Correctional Service produces more than 20 graduates from different universities today. And that major correctional centers today, as I'm talking to you, are all examination centers. I've just told you that Priska has been certified by Teveta. Many thanks to the Director General there. We are certified to train. But Teveta is also training and giving them those certificates. So people in prisons don't think of a 1940 prison. That is why we've been advocating. We have graduates there. We have civil servants there. We have church members and some church leaders there. So they are not different from us. So my brother, your question is great. I have already told the people that you are forgiven. Some of them have apologized to us. Others have kept quiet. But, in all the countries where prisoners are voting, they have never favored either the ruling party or the opposition. They follow what these politicians are saying. They follow what is obtaining. They are able to read. They are able to understand the situation, the development issues, the understanding and appreciation of things in our correctional facility has gone up because of education. So I'm very, very thankful and I'm so pleased. The other day, I was telling my chair, the board, that I'm planning to retire because I've laid the foundation and I'm growing old now. I have a small farm in Mumbwa. But, our colleagues have said, stay a while, find a disciple. And very soon, yes, I'll be going. Now, we accepted all those suspicions.
Have you found the disciple?
We have tried once. It failed. We are now trying to find that disciple so that you continue with what you have done, what you've been doing with another person. You cannot be there forever. I've been around for 22 years. So I feel I've done my part by allowing all the correctional centers to become part of the constituencies. What is remaining is to continue educating them so that they take these leaders, the members of parliament, to task and to account, so that they invite them. And that's what they need. They want to benefit from the Constituency Development Fund. They are now saying, we want our officers in charge, correctional centers and police, to sit in those ward committees, those Constituency Development committees. That's what they are saying. And that's how it should be, because they are released every day and there are people who are entering every day.
Interesting. Now, what should be the way forward on the prison voting? What are some of the recommendations that you're making as Priska? Super question. And this is where I want to thank the Electoral Commission of Zambia, because they called all of us to review. And what they have said is that they will maintain the technical committee and probably even add other members. I'm preempting here. They want to add the media. Exactly.
As one
Which
of
is
the
very
members
important.
of that technical committee and many others. What do we need to do? We need to continue reviewing the mechanisms and protocols and make them better. Some inmates have submitted that they want to see these political party leaders enter correctional facilities, even if the numbers are reduced to the president of a political party and maybe the secretary. That's what they want to hear. Look at the by-elections. I congratulate Kamwara Remand. It becomes the first correctional center to participate in a by-election, in Kawata by-election. And it's my prayer that in Mongu it will be peaceful, because they'll be voting on the 14th. We expect those inmates here and political parties to go and approach a down-to-earth commissioner general who understands all these things, Mr. Chirukutu. Let them go and approach him. Go there and sell your manifesto. So we need to continue making the mechanisms better. The other thing is voter education and civic education should be continuous. Because I've said, you know, you look at the frequency of the discharges and the new entrants, you know. So we just need to continue that so that there's no gap. The issuance and the replacement of NRCs also should be done yearly, every year. We want the Department of NRC passports and citizens to go there and give those NRCs to the deserving Zambians that are still in incarceration. That's what we want to see. Procurement and also distribution of media equipment. They were telling us, you have done well with this funding, but we would have loved each cell to have a television. We would have loved each cell to have a radio, so that we follow these discussions even in the night when we are locked up. And that they were there at the point. So we are calling on the cooperating partners in Zambia. We are calling on the churches, including this church where I'm sitting, and I know the leader very well here. So they want to be part they want all these churches to be part of what is happening. When they go there to preach the word of God, for example, talk about this issue. It's a big issue. It's a big issue to allow those people, give them back their right to participate in elections. You can versify. My first qualification is actually theology myself. I have specialized in pneumatology and eschatology. So mostly when these churches and leaders go there, it's only about the Bible. Talk about issues. Connect them to the Bible. That's what we want. And so the other issue is we need to continue. The government should fund such programs like this with both government and private media. So that we line up people, ex-prisoners, and continue discussing these issues. We have talked about the ECZ to include the suspects, you know, in police cells because they didn't vote. We want 2026 to include them. First of all, they are innocent. The Constitution is very, very clear in Article 18. They are innocent, the presumption of innocence. So we want ECZ to include them in 2026 so that they also choose leaders of their choice. It's not about only numbers. No, it will be difficult to escort them. That's not a problem for me who is arrested. It's a problem for the government to find officers and escort me to go and choose my leader. That's what we want to see before 2026.
Interesting. There you have it. We are discussing the plight of inmates with Mr. Godfrey Malembeka, the Prisons Care and Counseling Association Executive Director. And in case you're just joining us, you too can participate in this conversation by calling the number that is on your screen in case you want to ask Mr. Malembeka a question or you want to contribute to the topic of discussion. Now, going forward to other matters, Mr. Malembeka, we understand that we've been talking, we are no longer talking about prisons, but we are talking about correctional facilities now. How has that reformation been going at the moment?
First of all, it's a very good foundation. It's a very good foundation because the law has been changed. And I've talked about great work done by the Zambia Law Development Commission with all of us sitting in that technical committee. And also we want to commend Parliament because when they discussed this, they saw sense in it. And so what is required is the operationalization and the actualization of this paradigm shift. The change from the punitive model, the retributive model, to the correctional model or social model, if you like, or rehabilitation model, if you like. That is the meaning of this change from prisons to correctional, to corrections. So now, what we want to see is that can only be interpreted, actualized properly with enough resources. the Minister of Finance in the next budget. We want to see more of those allocations so that they are able to continue recruiting. We've just come from Kaoma, where correction officers have actually graduated. We need more officers so that we make the service delivery easy. When I'm sick, I should not be stuck because of the levels of the human resource levels. I must be escorted immediately to a bigger hospital so that I'm diagnosed. Those are the services that will come as a result of more recruitment, retraining, and reprogramming to demystify and demythologize the old training to the new one, so that we look at a prisoner as a human being made in the image of God, and we look at that prisoner not different from us, because the issue of getting interested in a speck in their eyes, the eyes of a prisoner, and you forget about your big bar in your eyes that we are reading in the audit reports in Zambia and auditors' reports and so on and so on. No, that is not helping Zambia. That is not helping Zambia. Those people are changed. Their problem is known. That's what the Bible, that's what God says. I know your problem, I will help you. But you who are lukewarm outside here, white collar criminals, stolen billions of money compared to a person who stole a cob of maize. And so that's where the problem is. We want to concentrate on those people in prison. And in Zambia, we don't even know the difference between a convict and a remandee. A person awaiting trial is not a convict. But we condemn everyone. So may I use this opportunity to all our colleagues, and I've worked very well with them, the entire law enforcement agencies fraternity, to reduce or stop announcing the number of suspects picked. What benefit do we get from that? Because when some of those are discharged, they don't go back to you, the media, to announce that the person we picked is innocent. He is now discharged, he's gone. Meanwhile, in the community, people will believe he is a prisoner because they announced and paraded the people who are not yet tried. We need to stop that. So what am I saying? I am saying it's a good start, but we need all of us. Don't leave it with government alone. We've done our part. We are doing it in a small way. We want many more. We want the church. We want the private sector to come in and help.
President Hakainde Hichilema has on several occasions indicated his commitment to ensure that the plight of inmates is safeguarded and conditions in correctional facilities are improved. And we just, himself, having been there, Mr. Marimbeka, in correctional facilities, he's been behind bars before, spent time, and you also witnessed how these people sleep. He's been on a record on various occasions. But what sort of commitment would you like to see, or what should be the area of focus for the president to ensure that some levels of sanity are brought to the correctional facilities?
First of all, let me thank the President, His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema. Yes, he spent, I call them overnights. Overnights for nothing. Some are innocent, trumped up charges, you go there. But I want to give him a verse. Those who are listening, take this to the President. Isaiah 55, verse 8. And I love that. It is one of my favorites. God's mind, God's thinking. My thinking is not yours. But sometimes God uses prisons to prune and prepare a leader. That is what I want to say here. If you look at the first announcement made by the president, it was about prisoners. I want the conditions to change. He instructed not only the Minister of Home Affairs, but also the Commissioner General. And sometimes I get touched with such. So the political will is there. If you look at the current distribution, procurement and distribution of bunker beds, mattresses, and the blankets, that is a good start. I've talked about the graduation of correction officers, not prison officers per se, but correction officers. We have talked about the equipment our colleagues have received. But what do we need more? First of all, we want this government, the New Dawn government, to embark on refurbishing and rehabilitating the current 94 centers before we talk about building new ones. It takes long to build a new correctional center. We thank the private partnership that we've seen those centers, modern ones, coming up in Mwembeshi. Yes, we need those. It will be easier to use our local our local means here, for example, the military, or even correctional service itself, or ZNS, sweep, clean them, enlarge those tiny windows. The president talked about ventilation. He went to the most difficult correctional center, I should call it prison, because that is where we still have the condemned people, and you can't call it correctional center. That is where he went. So he saw for himself. Now, we want that done so that they enjoy these blankets. They enjoy the mattresses. I was sleeping on the floor myself when I was at Kamfinsa for 4 years. On the floor, sleeping on the floor. No blankets, no nothing. Now, when you hear such pronouncements, you just tell yourself that this president needs people to supplement, needs other organs to supplement. Mm-hmm. We are talking about one important organ, judiciary. The new Chief Justice has just started placing the resident judges into those provinces where we had no judges. And that court circuiting, which we have been conducting based on how much money the judge is given for him to be or her to be in Chipata or Mansa or Mongu. You know, if there's no enough money, 3 days the judge is back. We have been contributing to the artificial congestion. We want you speed up such process so that we have judges in all the remaining provinces. We have had judges, resident judges, only in 4 provinces out of 10. Southern, Lusaka, Central, and Copper Belt, that's it. All the environment provinces, rural provinces, no resident judges. Why? When those are public, and I know the judges we have, very good people. They have trained me. I've traveled with some. I am still working with them. What they needed was simply this will that we are seeing. We need the others to supplement what the president is actually doing. I've talked about the private sector. Mm-hmm. We should talk about, for example, the private lawyers. Laz, where is the pro bono? You know, we have people who are spending 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. The trial is still going on. And when such a person is acquitted, do you call that an acquittal? The person has served a sentence indirectly. This is what is happening. We have a lot of people in Mongu, Mansa, Kasama, Solwezi, in all those provinces where we have no resident judges that are convicted by the lower court, subordinate court. But because of jurisdiction problems, because of the sentencing powers, which is limited only up to 9 years, and yet they are presiding over cases that attract life sentence, like defilement. We have a lot of people that are convicted 2 years, 1 year, they are waiting for a judge to travel there only to go and pronounce the sentence. We shouldn't allow such. We are creating artificial congestion, waiting for judges to go and sign a reformatory and confirm a reformatory order in Mansa. Do we need that? Give that to the magistrates. They are all lawyers now. Judges should not be signing those. So these are the areas that we want to see if it is possible, reducing the backlog of cases that we have. I've mentioned that we have about 23,000 or so incarcerated people. But the people awaiting trial who are innocent, called remandees, or persons awaiting trial, innocent people, are about 4,000. Malawi has reduced that number to 1,000. What's wrong with us? I am told that some time back, judges used to sit on Saturday. Why can't they sit now on Saturday and reduce that backlog? If we remained with 1,500, for example, of persons awaiting trial, we are going to talk about 18,000 incarcerated people today. Mm-hmm. This is where to go. So what am I saying? I'm saying the president needs support, even from the cooperating partners. And I know they will come in to help. People like European Union, German, and others. I know they will come in to help. The first holistically reviewing the review of the Penal Code Cap 87 and the Criminal Procedure Code Cap 88 is a milestone, a big one. And I don't know why some people, and even a few clergy, complaining, why have they changed that? That law was made in 1931 and the Criminal Procedure Code in 1934. You have offenses in that outdated, foggy old-fashioned pieces, deportation within the country. If I continue making noise here, I'm deported back to Kasempa or Mumba where I come from. Does it make sense? We don't need that. Simple vagabond, we don't need that. Insulting the queen. Which queen are we talking about? So now, all these are efforts that we want members of parliament, whether you are from the opposition or you are from the ruling party, support this president. Support the president. We need to change. We are breaking our own, our own local legal statutes, the constitution, before we talk about the international law.
Interesting. Well, we are having a conversation with Mr. Marembeka on the plight of inmates. And just now, Mr. Marembeka, there's a matter that cannot go without your comment. This is a matter which was witnessed recently in Lusaka, where a child was put behind bar alongside her mother who had committed a crime. So we are just going to play that clip. Then on the other side, you'll be able to add your voice to that incident, because there are several of incidents that happen of similar nature. Then we can talk about that as well. Stay tuned. With children making up almost 50% of the population, Zambia struggles to meet the needs of its childhood age population. Subjected to severe poverty, Zambian children are faced with challenges such as malnutrition, impoverishment, educational disadvantages, child marriages, and hard labor. The Zambia police have come under public scrutiny for subjecting a child in police cell for a crime he did not commit. This was after police in Lusaka at Northgate Police Post arrested Esther Sitari of Lusaka's Chazanga compound and detained the woman and the child for about a week. She was only assisted out of police custody by a well-wisher. She explained to this journalist what transpired.
So after I see 4 crates ya more, nabwana kongolesa hapo, then night after yanabwa enda mba bwana si ya fridge one, obwa pesa kama pwanyi kama fridge au nonge kama. So after wabwera panga mati tipendelane ndipansamba kupendelana bwa pesa ndrama na kongolesa basona so. Then wambili mwana pwanye kam fridge demo ntambira kuvutanana pakata pia pesa katapekana ku police kupenda ndrama ya bwafika 1 2 3 1 pin 3.
So manje pale wanakugani wa polisi wanakugani pamoja na mwana kwa mnaenda kwanza ku polisi
naenda pamoja na mwana.
And this is the bar where she used to wake, and the father to the child is disappointed that her child was subjected to inhuman conditions.
Panezo pelekera mwana munkwala, sorry, not munkwala, what's this? Madaipa na milkit. Ndiye pamene nando pezati awamai wali mu custody. Ndiye pamene wajanabu aniofya wajoza iwe kumbe vanonga tuuze. That's when nabwana shita capture ja picture ya mwana wanga. Then at the end of the day nabwana was that is it in order, is it in constitution, in the laws of Zambia kuti even vikazingala vindu munjiraso wanga uchedwa na kuchedwa enda kuli konse tikulonga. So my concern is about the health of that child, because my child has been amenanala kwa ni mai wake of which netete wake ndivyo mera utonzali pira, but how come mwana wanga pezeke situation yaso?
This is the matter that has grabbed the attention of child rights activists like Henry Kawe.
This confirms what the Minister of Home Affairs said a few weeks ago, that the police were involving themselves in activities that are not to their level. So we appeal to the Zambia police to ensure that those things don't happen. But we want to urge the public to be sensitive towards children. If you expose such a child in such a situation, it is, infringing on their dignity. We need to ensure that we protect the dignity of every child.
On this Women's Day, Ms. Sitali is appealing to well-wishers to help her with capital to sustain her livelihood.
Pembeko chabanga nitanze kondrama business kozi singa kwanise kusenzera mundu ngaende kujere. For at least ngantanze kuchena ambache business yanga. These
challenges are common in low-income areas and people continue to face them, thus magnifying the perception that justice is a preserve of the rich. The police public relations unit could not provide response to the matter by broadcast time. Patrick Soko, Camnet News. There you have it. That is a clip from that was aired in the main news on Camnet television, Mr. Malembeka. So there, we want to also get your perspective regarding these challenges, which are so common, especially in low-density areas.
I want to agree with my brother Henry Kabwe, great man of God. I've been following him. What is required? First of all, that is totally wrong. But one good thing is that, you know, when I was growing up, I am almost 60, but when I was growing up, the qualifications of a police officer or correction officer or prisons officer then was something else. Darker people than me, darker than me, and beefy. You know. But what the people we have today are educated people. Most of them are graduates. They do understand these things. So things are changing. Now, what I want to mention is that that child was not supposed to go there. But what we need also is the people, the neighbors, the relatives, who should quickly move in and save such a child. We have the same situation. The Commissioner General is keeping some children in correctional facilities. They are known as circumstantial children.
Exactly.
Because the society is not ready to touch a prisoner's child. And they say when you do that, you will have jinx and hoodoos. Your baby will not be productive. Your husband will be fired. Useless beliefs. This is what is happening. And that is why I was saying media issues to discuss prisons plight or suspects in police cells is supposed to be funded by the Ministry of, is it information? We want such programs to educate the people so that they stand up and defend themselves. You know, that namesake, the husband is Godfrey, and that's my first name. He should have gone further to actually challenge that station and even call some of us. Or you go to your DC, or you go to the commissioner. You know, these are the issues that you need to do. You don't just end up there. There's nowhere you can be locked up, and they're threatening you, you'll be locked up if you persist. What case? What case are they going to put in India, Obi, you know? So these are the issues. What is required is to educate ourselves, but also what is required is to put structures in place, even to attend to those children that are also called circumstantial children in our correctional facilities. So this is wrong. Children needs to be protected.
Interesting. That brings me to another question on how can we improve the juvenile justice system?
Yeah, the juvenile justice system, I first of all alluded to the speeding up the conveyance. That's where the problem is. Speeding up the conveyance of these children that are already cleared by the subordinate court in collaboration with the social welfare department. Waiting for the confirmation from the High Court to confirm those reformatory orders. That is creating a lot of problems. First of all, a child, the years will only start counting when the child arrives at the reformatory school. So if a child, for example, is in Chipata and the judge doesn't travel there to confirm that reformatory order, the 2 years that child will spend in Chipata will not be counted. It will be a total loss. The time that child will go to Katombora or Mazabuka approved school or even in Sakwe and Indora. So we don't want that. That is the first delay. The second thing we need to do is, and I'm happy with what is happening, UNICEF, Save the Children, through the Child Justice Forum, and Priska is one of the founding members. They are promoting diversion. In Lusaka, I talked about diversion. I talked about the numbers of children that we've helped, and we are not the only ones. There are many others, CSOs, that are doing that. That needs to be scaled up in all the provinces so that we save those children that are involved in stealing a book, exercise book. We have those cases, exercise book. And when you ask this child, they tell you, my father did not buy books. I wanted to go to school. Why should you take such a child to a reformatory school? Cancel the child, bring the children together, do the roadmap, plan. That's what is required in Zambia. The other area is speeding up the completion of the code bill. The child code bill will sort out a lot of things. And I'm happy the way things are moving, we are only hoping, we pray that all those things will be done soon. But we also need to, we need tailored sensitization in our society, in our communities. So we need to involve traditional leaders. We need to involve the church than just teaching them about baptism. These basic legal issues should also should start from our churches. We need to include these basic legal education in our civic education. I'm told they will be introducing in schools. That's what is required. That's what is required in Zambia, because most of these children are doing certain things because they don't know. They simply tell you, I didn't know, you know. So these are the issues. So for me, the child code bill will sort out and will also clear some outdated sections in the Juveniles Act Cap 53, because that's what we need. That's what we need. So the true partnership between government and CSOs that are involved in diversion will be great. It will be very, very helpful to help our children. I'll give you examples of some of the children we have helped. They have passing that, you know, better results than those who are not in prisons, you know. And we have some now are even working, you know. But if they went to these reformatory schools, probably this time they were still going to be there. And when they are discharged, there is no empowerment. So what is required is what the Commissioner General is doing, because Commissioner General and also government is talking about empowering the licensees. When they leave reformatory schools, they are empowered so that they go and implement the skills they were learning. And they are talking about empowering ex-prisoners as well. That's the way to go. Otherwise, the level of recidivism in Zambia will still remain high, and the reoffending numbers will be high because there's stigma and discrimination outside. If we don't attend to those, if we don't create the reception, we are in trouble.
Justice delayed is justice denied,
I
Mr. Marembeka. But we see our citizens, especially in high-density areas, being the victim. We just take this call. We'll continue that. Hello, you are through to Kamne TV. Hello, you are through to the program. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Okay, I'm calling from Luansha.
Okay, Luansha. You
I
are...
just want to ask, is Mr. Marembeka a member of the Prison Service Commission?
Prison Service Commission?
No.
Oh, okay.
You can...
No, I'm not a member of the Prisons Service
Is he a
Commission.
member of the Prison Service Commission?
Okay, okay.
Okay, well, is that so? Then we'll respond to your question.
Okay.
You can take that one before I pose another
Okay,
question.
thank you very much. No, I'm not my brother, but maybe one day I will be. I should mention here that I have been appointed as a board member of the Reformatory School, Katombora Reformatory School. And this is how we should work. So the government has, I think, looked at our profile after giving us that award as a defender in 2018. It is now followed by the Minister of Home Affairs appointing me to sit on that reformatory board.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
We didn't know that. Thanks to that caller that we are now aware that you've been appointed.
And I'm very thankful to the Minister,
Interesting. I think your job speaks for itself. But we proceed. We're talking about the aspect of justice delayed, justice denied. And most of the people who are in incarceration are those, especially who cannot even afford a lawyer, especially the poor. How can we address this aspect, especially in terms of justice delivery, Mr.
I really like your questions, and one day I would deliberately take your name so that you are cleared by the Commissioner General. We visit together. Priscal is one of, if not the only one, that is paying. We've partnered with a standing memorandum with the Legal Aid Board in all our provinces. So we contribute to those legal fees. We've just paid 15,000, 5,000 for Gobert, 5,000 Lusaka, and Southern. We pay for those indigents, the people who have literally nothing, so that they are represented by those lawyers. We don't pay the lawyers. These are subscription for paper, for example. The running of all those appeal forms and so on, and also transport sometimes, you know. So that's what we do. But not only that, we also work with private law firms that have been offering pro bono to us, to Priska, with funding from European Union, funding from Open Society Foundation. This is what we've been doing. But the other component is we have trained paralegals. They are trained by the GIZ PLEAD program. And now we have an act. So Priska has about 13 trained paralegals. These are paralegals that are running legal services units. Judiciary, I'm very, very thankful to you. A big thank you. From 2012, we've been using government electricity, water, and free rooms. Our second offices are actually based at the court complex. So you can see the partnership with judiciary. And then the legal aid board has put in 2 lawyers every day. They are sitting there to wait for people who will come out crying. I don't know where to find sureties. What can I do? No. Come here, we shall help you. This is what we are doing in the Southern Province. We are doing in Central. We are doing in Western Province. We are doing in Lusaka. We are doing on the Commonwealth. And for 8 years, from 2010 to 2018, we were in all the provinces. And we hope to grow. No, this is what we've been doing. But not only that, what is required now is the LAS, Law Association of Zambia. I am in love with the announcement they made, that they want to make sure that there's a statutory instrument that will make every private law firm given a number of indigents or people that they should represent for free. Because that is the only way they can pay back to the society. The corporate social responsibility of a lawyer is pro bono, free representation. So we need to up that. We need to enhance that. And that has been our advocacy. So that's what we need. And that way, we shall reduce the number of people awaiting trial. We shall have a lot of people that will be discharged on technicalities. Rich people in Zambia, you have seen, they are in the dock, the bail is already prepared. Immediately, the case finishes, the bail moves from this table to that table. They don't even stay in prison because they are represented. A lot of people in Zambia have been acquitted not because they are innocent, but because of technicalities. Who calculates the technicalities? Lawyers. Strong mitigation can help you to benefit from non-custodial sentencing or options like suspended sentence or community sentencing. Exactly. This is what is needed in Zambia. But further is actually sensitizing Zambians. Zambians have not received enough basic legal education. That is why every time Nangubalenua or wherever they will say, no, me I can beat you and I even go to prison. You know, I've listened to such. We need to educate our people in the churches. We need to educate our people at schools. We need to involve our traditional leaders. The traditional courts needs to be reviewed so that some of the cases are sorted out by our traditional leaders, men and women. Not all the cases should be going to the law enforcement agencies. Leave the police to deal with complicated matters, not about land dispute and other things. No.
Interesting. We cannot go without talking about health in correction facilities, Mr. Marembeka. Yeah. A number of issues do affect correctional facilities, just like it is outside. Let's talk about HIV. And how has the issue of HIV been dealt with before we also delve in how the COVID-19 pandemic has also affected issues pertaining to correctional facilities?
Yeah, I should mention here that that area, I think, is just God himself, but also coupled with the right appointments of people who are able to prevent such. In our correctional centers, if not 95%, it should be, I think, 95 or 99% of all the incarcerated people are tested. Voluntarily. I tested 3 times myself. Because that's why I always say that incarcerated people are probably more courageous than even soldiers. Outside here, people are dying, even COVID-19, not a problem. In prisons, they will just go, test me, check me. That has helped a lot, because then you are able to put those who have a condition on ACT. And that's why you have seen nowadays, if you check, you go and see where these inmates are working. They are all big, tough, strong. And that is not because of only food provision, but because of testing and knowing your health status. However, I should mention that we need to do another research, because the research that was done by In But Free is quite old, where we came up with a prevalence rate of 27.4, and yet outside is going down. So we need support in that area. Just today I was talking to a very powerful international organization I want to mention, who are talking about these things. That is what is required. Another thing that is required is the Zambia Correctional Service, we want to commend them. In 2010, they had only 15 correctional-based clinics. And I've said that we have 94 centers. Today, as I'm talking to you, there are more than 30 correctional-based. And with 2 mini hospitals. With the help of PEPFAR. Great. When you go to Livingstone and you go to Chipata, people have stopped going to the Chipata and the Livingstone Hospital. They go to our correctional centers. Even here at Lusaka Central, go there, you see the equipment which is there. Now, this is the way to go. We need to increase that number. We need to increase the number of health officers. We need to give them enough and adequate allocations for them to come up with to implement the dietary scale. The dietary scale is okay because it talks about 3 meals, but when the Commissioner General is not given enough capacity, where is he going to find the meals to feed all those people? So we need these people who are on hard drugs. For example, TB. It's a problem, TB, because of congestion. But they are on hard drugs, so therefore they need nutritional capacity. What is the way forward? The way forward is to strengthen and fund the health directorate of Zambia Correctional Service. That's what we want to see. We need to have provincial doctors, not one doctor based at headquarters, Zambia Correctional Service headquarters in Kabwe, and that doctor is expected to reach all the provinces. We must have these doctors that are going to be based in provinces like judges.
Interesting. Your concluding remarks, Mr. Marembeka, as we come towards the end of our program.
I want to advise all my friends that they should take on their members of parliament, summon them through your district commissioners, summon them through your officers in charge to visit you, take them on, so that because you are now part of the constituencies, this is your country, you need to benefit from the Constituency Development Fund.
Interesting. Well, there you have it. We've been having a conversation with the Prisons Care and Counseling Association of Zambia Executive Director, Mr. Godfrey Marembeka. Interesting conversation we've had discussing the plight of inmates. As usual, the People's Verdict is a program dedicated to you by Kamni TV, to our dear viewers, so that we can bring out issues that affect our various communities. Until next time when we come on the screens with another interesting guest, this has been Patrick Soko. Keep it on Kamni TV. Remember, Kamni TV is not just another channel. Stay tuned.